welcome back to my vlog. If you're new here, my name is Haley. Subscribe if you haven't already. Today I want to start a vlog. I don't know if it's going to span over just today or today and tomorrow, we'll see. That shows the behind the scenes of how I create content, because I have a pretty consistent content creation schedule and I have a lot of coals on the fire, so to speak. So lay of the lands, I have my podcast called Big Conversations where episodes go live every Tuesday at noon. Today's a Monday. I have a newsletter / weekly email called The Hustle, but HHSTLE because of my initials, that goes out every Monday morning. And I have a pretty robust content schedule for TikTok and Instagram Reels, which are usually the same thing recycled. I have a YouTube vlog, obviously, and I do general programming. So I have slingshot sessions coming up the first week of February. It's round 2. Slingshot sessions are basically group EFT tapping sessions where we work through major blocks all together. So the blocks that we're working on for Slingshot sessions round 2 include the fear of being seen as it relates to social media, scarcity stories, expanding upon money blocks and where we feel blocked in terms of abundance, fear of success and worthiness, and then replays of 2 from the last set of Slingshot sessions, which are just the fear of being seen generally and money blocks. Then I have the Dream Away community, which is a community of like-minded dreamers and manifestors, just a spiritual group where we do oracle readings every Sunday night, and we have lots of workshops throughout the month. We actually have 2 workshops coming up this week. We have the book club tomorrow night. We're reading Your Word is Your Wand by Florence Scovel Shinn. I always get it wrong. And then on Wednesday, we have a money date, which we have every month for the aligned tier. This month, it's going to be about finding those sneaky limiting beliefs around massive abundance. So point being, I have a lot going on at all times. I've been asked a lot how I keep track of it all behind the scenes, and I thought this would be interesting to show because I am honestly not the most organized person you'll ever meet. I have no Virgo placement, if that tells you anything. I am literally all fire. My big 3 are Leo, Sagittarius, and Sagittarius. Leo sun, Sag moon, Sag rising. And so a lot of my work, especially because it's so creative, is very spontaneous, is a little bit chaotic, for lack of a better word, where I act on instinct. I do what I want when it comes to my content. I do not plan out a schedule. I don't have a destined time every single week where I sit down to record my podcast or whatever, but I've actually found a way to make that work. And for a long time I was like, well, this would be a stupid video because I can't give people practical tools, but I still make it work somehow. And I actually think this could land even more because I know if I watched a video on making a content schedule and people were like, I plan out for the next 3 months and here's how I do all of this and here's how it's so organized and color coded, I would feel really overwhelmed and really bad about myself because it's just not how I am. So hopefully this is a realistic look behind the scenes of being a content creator and doing it in a semi-organized fashion that still gets the job done. So first on the list is my podcast. So again, I have my podcast go live every single Tuesday at noon, but I usually record the podcast the day before. This is one of my sneaky secrets for how I think I make my content land for people. I don't think this is going to work for everyone, but for me personally, I like to strike while the iron is hot with my content. And I do this across the board too, with my TikToks and my Reels or anything that I produce and immediately put out. It's just that. Producing it and immediately putting it out, or if I know that something's about to go out, creating it as close to when it's supposed to go out as possible because of the energetic dynamics of it. So speaking of that, I actually am doing a podcast episode today on the energy dynamics behind my work. So talking about instead of business strategy, which I definitely have a background in because I studied entrepreneurship in college, I really let inspired action and urges and the energy and healing work that I've done on myself set the scene for what I'm putting out into the world because everything carries an energy with it. What helps me most and what makes me most excited about what I'm putting out there is putting things out the second it happens. So if I take a picture, for example, and I'm out with friends and I take a good picture and I want to post it, or something's just happened, after I did my singing performance, I had my friend Rachel take a picture of me, I wanted to put it out immediately. It wasn't oh, I'll edit this and then post it later and come up with a caption. I post it in real time. And this is because it carries forth that excited energy of this just happened, I want to share it with you. I think over time, and this is just for me personally, but it might resonate for you too, the energy of it can become sort of stale. And so even with podcast episodes, I used to bulk record. I'd be I really need to make sure that I have 3 podcast episodes in the queue and then I'm planned out for the entire month, and then I'll just schedule as I go. But I've found that I feel way more excited about an episode if I record it, because I always feel really excited after I record it and I know it's about to go live. So I kind of like play with the deadline of it. The deadline keeps it enforceable, right? Because I know there's a lot of people who depend on my podcast being out at noon Eastern time every single Tuesday, like clockwork, ever since I first started the podcast. That holds me accountable on its own, but I'm really playing with like, okay, I've got to give this enough time to send it off to my editor and then upload it, but it's whatever I'm feeling in the moment so that it's as close to that raw energy of this is what I want to talk about as possible. On that note too, and this is again how I do both my TikToks / Reels and my podcast, I'll have a ton of ideas swimming in my head of like things people have requested, things that I've written down or brainstormed in terms of like really good topics or good like video ideas. But I wait and see what feels really good to me in the moment. And actually, like when it comes to TikTok and Reels, the times I've had videos go the most viral have almost always been because I was standing in front of the camera and I was like, okay, Haley, time to film or time to record a podcast or whatever. And something came to me in that moment and then I filmed. And it's like I came up with it on the spot and it almost like recorded me coming to my own epiphany around it. It just has a different energy to it. So on that note, I had 3 ideas swimming in my head of podcast episodes that people have requested. I've been doing this thing with season 4 of Big Conversations where you guys get to request certain topics, and because I want it to feel like a conversation, like 2-sided. So I actually thought I was gonna do it on one thing today, but this always happens. Like in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do that one thing. But now I actually wanna do it about like the energy dynamics behind my work. So without further ado, I am going to set up my podcast and get into it. Something else to note is I'm heading into the podcast without any notes. I don't always do this. Sometimes I have bullet points of things that I want to make sure I cover, but I honestly feel like I can just sit down and it takes the pressure off to just flow as if I am having a conversation. That's what the podcast is called. I'm doing exactly that. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of Big Conversations.
I didn't look back, didn't give up. I got my first real kiss behind the coffee shop.
Okay, I just wrapped up that episode. I recorded for 34 minutes and I'm sending it right now to my editor. My editor kind of knows that I'm a fly by the seat of your pants type of person. He's great. He's from this company called Podcast Doctors, if you're interested. Yeah, he kind of knows that I'm just going to send it to him and that I need it back by Tuesday, and he's really quick, so it's good. So I have a few more things on my agenda today. I need to do the email. I need to film some TikToks. I need to edit my vlog, and I'll show you guys the behind the scenes on how I edit it. But I really allow myself to choose energetically what I want to do next. So I know that I do not want to do that weekly email right now. I might actually want to do it tomorrow morning. I kind of like writing first thing when I wake up. It feels kind of good to me right now to do some editing because I've just been speaking for so long. I'm not really in the mood to like turn around and talk some more on a TikTok. So I'm going to go ahead and do that next. So let me show you the full lay of the land behind the scenes.
You should see the city lights tonight.
So I used to have a video editor and I still have her. Like I could contact her anytime and be like, hey, can you edit a video for me? For Vlogmas, I started editing my own videos mostly because I had to, right? To like film a video and edit it and post it like all in the same day with the turnarounds. And I actually ended up loving editing a lot. Before I kind of thought that should be something that I outsource, but it's brought me a lot of joy. And that's another thing too, like when it comes to my content creation process. I know that editing my podcast doesn't sound very fun to me. It just sounds kind of meticulous, but the artistic side of editing my own vlog and also the focus and the flow that it gets me into is really worth it for me, where I genuinely enjoy it. So I've now started editing and I don't know how long it's gonna last, but I definitely think I'll edit more moving forward, and I've been enjoying it a lot. Editing is really that one space where I don't know what it is about it, but when I edit, it could be like 11 p.m. past my bedtime. I need to go to sleep. I have an early wake up the next morning and I will just keep editing. It really does make time just disappear, but in a really good way that makes me feel in flow, very connected to my content, and then inspired and energized for all the other content pieces that I have to do today. It took me a while to get here though, right? Like I had to learn how to edit, which took a long time. I edit in Final Cut Pro, which is like easy enough. I had to learn as I went. A lot of it's like muscle memory of knowing like which keys you use to cut clips or certain transitions. But now that I've gotten the hang of it and I've found like more of a flow with it, I do enjoy it a lot, so it's worth trying that out for yourself. But I also found that it makes me a better editor, like for shorter form content, such as my TikToks. There was a TikTok, for example, that I made just this week, and I just used all these clips.
Feed above all else. Like there was just that one person who could be your soulmate, and just that.
All those clips of me getting ready for bed, and then I did a voiceover on top of that with something that I'd written, and I felt like I knew how to edit a video in a way that was very visually appealing because I had all this practice for my vlog. So all of it started to melt together. On that note, I actually got a lot of questions about my vlogs and like how I choose to put the vlogs together. And I am honestly still getting the hang of that. So far this year, like since 2022 started 17 days ago, I've had very like pointed purposes for the vlog. So I did one on just like strategy and planning. I did one on like vision board, big dreams. I did one on my music. And so the one that I'm editing right now is the one that was least pointed, and it's just kind of a weekend of my life. And I kind of like that because you never know like what's going to come up throughout the weekend, but it turned out really good. So my thing with vlogs is sometimes it's good to just not have like a rhyme or a reason, just see what happens and see when you want to pick up the camera. And then I just put them all together in chronological order, obviously. So it paints like a clear storyline of exactly what happened. Okay, so I first put everything in order. I don't know, I just find it easier. It's almost like the clay that you then mold. Okay, I recorded my singing TikTok and posted it of my new song. I'm gonna touch up my makeup and then do some talking TikToks. Talking ones are my favorites. I love nothing more, since obviously I want to be a talk show host, than getting in front of the camera and talking about something. So I have a few things, just like with my podcast, swimming in my mind of things that I want to talk about, but I also might look through notes that I've taken. Sometimes I just jot things down. I'll make drafts in TikTok of things that I want to make videos about. And I'm really in the mood to knock out some serious content today. That's another thing, is that I don't try to hold myself accountable anymore to like, oh, 3 videos today. Yesterday I happened to do 7 videos because I've just been posting a little bit more than I usually have. I really like the idea of surrendering to the flow when the flow is happening and just letting myself produce as much content as possible, because then on the inevitable days that I don't feel like creating content, which I usually try to do at least 1 video a day at the very, very least, then I have something else that I can like post on Reel. But again, the inspiration part and like really feeling attached to what I'm singing and what I'm creating is so important, because I think people can energetically feel when you're like forcing yourself to make a video, if that makes sense. I also like to give myself the space and the time to like sit in front of the camera and just see if something's coming to mind. I get the craziest things coming to me at the weirdest times throughout the day, and so sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm in front of the camera, I'm ready to film, my makeup looks good, like let's see if there's anything that I feel like I want to say. Okay, let's do this. Often when I read, I come up with ideas, so I'll write little notes in the margins of things that come to me, and so then I make sure like I have a book nearby when I'm creating content. Another thing is I always keep my phone as close as possible so I can be like talk, because I never know like when, how I'm gonna see certain things comes to me. And I found that doing like the countdown 3, 2, 1, it makes me lose my flow. And feeling more gratitude is the way to manifest faster.
Like you know me in the depths of my heart, we're dreamers. Don't care what other people say, we live it like this.
Something else I do is, instead of just filming a ton, I literally edit really quickly, which is not that hard. I'm just adjusting the clips so there's no like white space. adding the song, adding the captions. And then my little hack is you can use this thing called Snaptic to download your TikTok so you can post them onto Reels, but it doesn't download the captions. So when I do something that needs captions, I actually screen record my TikTok and then post the screen recording to Reel.
As you know, gratitude is the highest vibration emotion.
Alive in the nighttime, something about how we dance in the moonlight, that look in your eyes.
Slingshot sessions, the tickets close on January 26th and today is January 17th, and I haven't done an Instagram story talking about them in more in depth, which I always think is good because I always assume like people know what slingshot sessions are since I did them before. But it's just a good way to, to make a story just explaining, just going more in depth, because it really helps people who have questions. If people have questions, they're not going to buy from you because they're not going to understand. So, little hack. Okay, friends, let's talk about slingshot sessions round 2. For those of you who are new here or you don't remember from round 1, slingshot sessions are basically group tapping sessions.
I saw the city passing by my window. Was in the crowd, but I felt so alone.
Okay, so I just posted a new vlog, the one that I was editing yesterday. I had just taken a screenshot. It was really easy since I was doing a photo shoot, so I was like posing in a lot of the clips and then put this over. Something that I make sure to do second that I share on YouTube or share a new podcast is I take it to my Instagram story. So I just made this cute little thing. This kind of shows, it has the link. And then I did the same thing with my podcast episode earlier. I have not been a good vlogger today, but this morning I got a really good idea for a reel based off the song that I had written about soulmates.
Maybe soulmates are fiction.
I wanted to use it in a reel because that's how you get songs to go viral. And then I was doing my makeup this morning and I just got the idea for exactly what this says. Make sure you aren't accepting the bare minimum from someone just because you've convinced yourself that they're your soulmate. Maybe just maybe you'll find the same earth-shattering connection with someone who can give you what you deserve. I jotted it down in my notes and was like, let me just film this right now. Let me just do it like in my living room. And I immediately filmed it. Like my makeup wasn't even done, but my face wasn't in it. And it was easy and just posted it. So it felt really good. Tonight I have a late night coaching call. I just got off the Dream Away book club meeting. And so I'm not really in the mood to make content. And that's why I'm really glad that I posted something this morning that I just like, I struck while the iron was hot and did one this morning because like, I've acknowledged that one, I've done that, I put that out there, but I know that anything that I do tonight, if I'm in this weird energy of like feeling tired and just not really feeling that into it, people are gonna be able to energetically feel it. It's so subtle, but it's there, and I don't want that lathered over my content. So I'm gonna say that that one's okay. Now, if I hadn't posted one today, I would probably try to figure it out. I would tap through some of the resistance and try to put one out there, but that's why it's just good to act when you can, rather than being like, no, I'm gonna just film later. No. Hi guys, okay, so it's Wednesday night and I'm getting ready for, well, it's Wednesday evening. I'm getting ready for the Dream Away Money Date. This is another piece of my content or like my programming that I do every single month. And all of my Dream Away tiers are different offerings. And so this is for the middle tier called the Align tier. We have a book club every month. We had the book club meeting last night, and then we have a money date every month, which is like abundance-based programming. So the way that I do this is actually really easy. So I do EFT tapping now in all of my sessions because it just makes it really easy for us to like clear things out really quickly. Originally, a lot of my content before I learned how to do like group tapping, like through slingshot sessions, was like, oh, let's identify where the issue is and then come up with affirmations and talk it out. And I'm like, no, let's just clear it out, right? So I just want to show you, I have these very light notes in my phone of what I want to talk about in the money date. The money date is going to be about the blocks to massive abundance, sneaky limiting beliefs that we have about making a lot of money or having a lot of money. So I just have a few guiding questions that I've been adding to all week. I literally have 30 minutes until the session, but I'm just going to put them into a Canva doc just because I think it would be good to have like the text up on the screen. And other than that, like everything's kind of in my head. The money dates are very collaborative and easy. So it's not like I'm making a full-blown PowerPoint presentation for every single piece of my content. I'm just very meticulous and detailed about okay, I need to make sure that I'm helping everybody identify where the block is. Here are the questions that will help us get there. And then, okay, we have everything set up to start to tap once we identify those blocks. And then it's allowed to just be really easy. I used to get really nervous. I'd want to like practice before. I'd have really detailed slides. And a lot of times there's just no need for that. Like, it's just a 1 hour thing. We all know each other really well. You know, we always have new members every single month. Letting the intention of the work be the intention without needing it to be like perfect slides. Like, as long as it has the text on there, we're good. Like, we know what we're doing. So that's just another little hack.